Hello again. My name is David Gwilt. Welcome to another edition of Thoughts for the Ages. Today's topic is aging. Now, if you're afraid of aging, I guess stop right now and don't listen to this. However, I, for one, embrace aging. I mean, that's kind of my mantra, is to embrace aging and not to fear it. There are a couple of reasons for that, and I may have an advantage over some people who have a fear of aging in that I did some graduate work in gerontology, which is the study of aging at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte, and obtained what they call a graduate certificate in gerontology, which basically means I was halfway to a master's degree, which up until today I haven't decided to pursue it any further. However, one of the benefits from taking that education is that I learned a lot about the aging process. Not just the mental aspect, but the physical aspect, what actually happens to the body as we age. And also quite a bit about what happens to the mind as we age, and people's attitudes on aging and the population that's aging faster. All of that, I think, helped me to embrace aging rather than to fear it. And I'll give you an example. When I wake up and I have a new ache or pain, I'm kind of curious about it. Like, okay, what happened that caused that? Or is it just like your automobile, say, where it's absolutely fine today, you turn off the ignition, you go in your home, you come out tomorrow, you turn it on, or you try to turn it on and it doesn't start. You're like, well, it was fine yesterday. Well, sure it was, but today it isn't. And our bodies are the same thing. I mean, if you think about it, we are a biological machine. We have a motor, which is the heart, and that pumps blood. And, we have a brain that tells our muscles what to do. And we have nerves that send impulses back and forth. And it all works together in harmony until it doesn't. Right now, I'm dealing with some IT band irritation, they call it. I got a shot a week ago or 10 days ago, a steroid injection, I think it was called, or cortisone injection, one of those two, that supposedly was going to help. And the physician said 3 to 6 days is going to be pain-free. Well, I'm not pain-free. It's been 10 or 11 days now. And it still hurts when I walk, all the way from my hip down to my knee. Now, do I rail about that? Nope. Do I cry about it? Nope. Do I holler and yell? No. It's called acceptance, because at 74 years of age, I don't expect to be pain-free or have zero challenges, if you will, to something as simple as walking or exercising, getting on a treadmill, getting in and out of a car. Those things happen. Sometimes my back bothers me. I've had a couple of spinal injections because I tried to lift too much. I thought I was still 40 instead of my current age of 74. The point is that it's a totally useless exercise to be frustrated about aging. You accept aging, or you rail against, the ravages of time. They call it ravages of time. There's also some benefits, I think, to aging. Certainly in the United States of America, when you hit 65, you are qualified for Medicare. And in my case, I took a supplemental plan, which I think is a smart thing to do. You also, at some point, whether you decide to do it at 62 early or 66 or whatever age it is, 70, start obtaining Social Security payments for your hard work all those years. So those are the two benefits of aging, besides which, hopefully you've gained some wisdom by now. I mean, if you're 65 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 or whatever you are, or centenarian, hopefully you're smarter now than you were when you were 30. You don't make some of the same mistakes. In some instances, you're not capable of making the same mistakes that you did when you were 30, 40, 50, or maybe even 60. But in a lot of cases, you are still capable of making those decisions. And sometimes they don't turn out well. Sometimes they do. The point is that you can either accept aging and what I call embracing aging, which means that to continue to have that curiosity about aging, like, I wonder what this is, and I wonder why that happened, and why does my knee ache? And I do some research about it if I come up with a new ache or pain, which I do sometimes. Or, one of the funniest things I think when I first realized that I was aging, if you will, was standing on a curb, on a street, and seeing some cars coming. And I needed to cross the street. And I wasn't at a crosswalk, which probably wasn't the smartest thing. But I wanted to get across the street. And I thought, okay, I'm going to run across the street. Well, that's what I thought. That's what was going on between the ears. I was going to run across the street. When I sent that message to the rest of my body, it sent back a response saying, "Are you out of your ever-loving mind? There's no way we're running across the street. We might walk quickly. We might jog a little bit, a little awkwardly. We're not going to run across the street like we might have done when we were 18 or 28 or 38 or 48 or maybe even 58. At 74, that's not happening." So I waited until the traffic was clear, or I would make a decision to go to the crosswalk or the stoplight, whatever, and cross safely. Even though my mind said I'm going to run across the street, my body started laughing hysterically and said, "There's no way you're going to do that." So I would encourage you to embrace aging, to do some research about it. There are a lot of books that are out there that you can read about the aging process, and it might help you to understand some of the biological changes that happen with our body, as well as some of the emotional aspects of it, and learn to enjoy that process. Because if you're not aging, then you're dead. And that might be better. I don't know. I haven't died yet, so I'm not sure. Maybe the afterlife is just, this wonderful party of, giggles and ice cream. I don't know. But right now, the situation I'm in is a human existence, and I'd rather stay here. So I embrace aging. I would encourage you to do the same rather than rail against it. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you want to comment, you can reach me, David, at davidagwilt.com. GWILT is how you spell my last name. And please tune in again for the next rendition, if you will, of Thoughts for the Ages. Thanks a lot.